Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of rawradianthealth.com, and I'm Natasha St. Michael, and thank you so much for joining me. So it's Thursday, it's almost the end of the week, and today I'm actually going to give you guys a little bit of an update of what I've been doing, how my diet has changed, because it's changed quite a bit, and I've made a lot of adjustments in my lifestyle, and I've been getting great results, and I thought I might as well share it and share what the changes have been and keep you updated and all that. But first I do want to mention, because I've received so many emails of people asking me to take you guys through a day of like what I eat. What do I have for breakfast? What do I eat as a snack? What do I have for lunch and dinner? Like everything. And I promise you, next week I will definitely take you through a day of my meals, so you have an idea of, like, visually you can see what I'm eating every day. So, but today I'm going to actually talk a little bit about it, okay? So it's like kind of like a sneak preview. So pretty much, I'm a big believer in experimenting with different diets, okay? And I really believe that we, constantly need to be adjusting things and trying different things out. And, we change, our body changes, and not everyone's the same. And I really don't believe that there's one diet that fits all. Definitely not. I mean, you guys know I coach people for a living with their diets, and I've met many people that, do really well on one kind of diet and terribly on another, but then another person might do really well on what didn't work for other people. So everyone's different, and it's an individual thing. I mean, our metabolism works differently, our digestive system works differently, where we live, the climate, the environment, the amount of stress we have, our history of illnesses and different imbalances we might have in the body, things like that, that each person is unique and special. And also too, as we grow older, things change as well. So we always need to be adjusting and refining things, and also just being open. So pretty much, as most of you know, I've been a vegetarian for over 20 years, okay? So for more than 2/3 of my life, and experimented here and there with veganism and different vegan diets. And I've been on raw vegan diet 100% for over 2 years. And pretty much in the last year, I've done a lot of experimenting, and I was experimenting specifically with the 80-10-10 diet, and just to see what it's like, because there's a lot of hype about it. 80-10-10 is 80% carbohydrates, 10% protein, and 10% fat, and it's pretty much a high fruit diet with greens and very little bit of fat. And I experimented with it for about 9 months, okay, and at the time I was very active as well, okay? I mean, riding my bicycle 3 hours a day, running for an hour a day, and just, constantly moving and being fit. But I was having problems with it, and it was something that I was open to trying, and I knew it was something that, you couldn't just try it for 2 weeks or a month. It's something that, try it for a couple of months, see what happens. And the main issue that I was having was that I couldn't stop eating. And I didn't feel good that way. It was like the more fruit I ate, the more I craved fruit. And I found that I was eating late at night, and I was just constantly eating. It was not like having a meal and going a few hours without eating and then having a meal later on during the day. It was just us eating every hour. And I just felt like I was constantly stuffing my face. And I gained weight because of it. and it was just a weird experience, because I've heard so many people getting onto a high fruit diet actually losing a lot of weight, and for me it was like the more fruit I ate, just the more I was gaining. And I just, but at the same time it was something I had to experience and try out. And one great thing was that it did give me the energy to be able to go on 3-hour bike rides or go running for an hour and a half straight right after, and no problem. But there was just so much sugar I need to burn off, and I just would constantly be eating. So that was an issue for me. So I tried it out, and at the same time, I guess over the end of the summer and in the fall, I started doing a lot of fasting. And as you guys know, I host the 10-day juice fasting every month, and I was joining them here and there, and I was also doing a lot of fasting on my own. And that was helping to regulate my appetite. That when I'd get off the fast, I'd be like, how can I maintain this great feeling? Because the moment I started getting back onto the fruit, it was like I need more and more and more and more. And then I'd get back on fasting and things would balance out, and it was just, and finally, over the fall, I started making more adjustments. And I started thinking back to, what is it that worked for me in the past? What worked for me when I was on a cooked food diet? What worked for me when I first got onto raw foods? What was working, what's not? And you have to ask yourself these questions, because there's always things that you can learn from what you were doing before, whether it's what to do or what not to do. And for me, I knew that my whole thing with fruit was, it was just sort of perpetuating this need for constant sugar and constant stimulus. And I needed to balance that out. And the main thing is too, is that my eating habits before that was, I was always, before eating all that fruit, I was always kind of the person that would sort of take it or leave it with food. I wasn't a big eater. I never ate at night. I, tend to had my last meal like during the day, not even in the evening. And even when I was on cooked foods, it was always like, 2 meals a day. That was it. It was fine, or having a very light dinner and stopping before, it was like way before bedtime. And so pretty much I started actually bringing in more fat into my diet and decreasing the fruit. The fruit kind of just decreased naturally. The more fat I was adding in, the more it decreased, and the more greens I started replacing the fruit with the greens. And I'd always been eating about 2 pounds of greens, but I even bumped it up to like 2 to 3 pounds and really getting in the sprouts and not going overboard with the fats, okay? Like still on average, probably instead of having like a quarter of an avocado like I used to a day, I'd have maybe a half an avocado. And on top of that, a tablespoon or 2 of seeds or nuts. It was still not so much, but just a little bit more. That really just brought me to a balance where suddenly I can eat a meal and I can go 6-8 hours without eating my next meal and never being famished and never feeling like I constantly need to be stuffing my face. And I just found that it's like, even with the fruit, that as long as I kept it kind of, just keeping it sort of balanced, I was able to have a little bit of fruit and not need more and more and more. As long as I ate a little bit of fats with it, that helped me out. Someone else, though, might need to just be eating fruit on its own without anything else, okay, and that's what works for them. But for me, I was getting more of my fuel from, I believe, more of the proteins from the greens and the fats, and that the fruit was just an added thing, is hydrating my system and giving me just a little bit of extra sugar to work with, okay? But I just noticed that suddenly no more late night eating and no more cravings either, no more sugar cravings. Just constantly craving sugar. Like I'd have a meal and I need to have fruit and, none of that. It's like have a meal and that's it. Have my salad, I don't need fruit after. And so this has been a huge benefit for me because it's even brought me back to that good feeling of, just taking what I need and then moving on and not constantly needing to stuff my face. And the weight has just naturally come off without having to make any effort and without having to be on top of it. So that's huge for me. And pretty much too is the 2 things that have been helping me a lot is that I started doing Bikram yoga again, and I do that at night. And I don't eat dinner anymore. So I have a huge breakfast and then I have a huge lunch. And my lunch is anytime between, say, 1 and 4 in the afternoon. And then that's it, no snacks after that. And mostly because I do the yoga at night, that I need about 4 to 5 hours with nothing in my stomach. Okay, that's just how I work. And that's really helped me to feel more balanced, more alert, and I do much better just having 2 solid meals a day. That's it. And I have energy and feel great, So that's pretty much what I've been up to and what's been working with me. Stay tuned next week. I will definitely show you guys exactly what I'm eating for my breakfast and for my lunch, okay? So I'm wishing you guys this fabulous, fabulous day, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye!